you guys that I told you he had some great things regarding the school choice that we had some dialogue about. And I know that it's a shifting school year here at CPS, but I think you need to hear some other things and that are tied to really not just our children, but the children across the, not our local children, but our children across the state. I want Triedstone to give Dan and Prof a great welcome.
Thank you very much. It's great to be with you. I was at the earlier service this morning, so I am not even going to try and compete with the energy and the rhetorical skills of Bishop Gordon, but I'll do my best. Before I get started, the ushers here are going to pass out some checks. They're not actual checks. So I don't want to create expectation and then have disappointment. But they're checks that highlight the point of what I'm going to be speaking to you all about today. So it's really a blessing to be with you here today. I want to thank Bishop Gordon and the Triedstone family for inviting me to your community and your place of worship. I met Bishop Gordon several years ago when we worked together to advance pro-adoption legislation. We found that we had many things in common that begin, like all things do, with respect for life and a compassion for the lives that are most vulnerable. He has my deep respect, my gratitude, and my friendship. We learned much about each other in our effort to support adoption service providers in Illinois. I learned that Bishop Gordon's decisions and actions are driven by his faith in God and his commitment to God's Word. And I learned that his faith in God gives him the power to stand up to bullies and do right, even when it's not initially popular. Bishop Gordon stands with those who have similarly heard the calling to serve others, with those who want to open doors of opportunity to persons for whom those doors have been closed, and with those who are willing to speak out against wrongdoing and injustice. So when I was ready to introduce my plan as a candidate for governor in 2010 to fundamentally overhaul school districts in Illinois failing to meet their responsibilities to their students, I first came to Bishop Gordon for his support. I came to Bishop Gordon with the ideas I will share with you today because I knew that he has the moral clarity to see the problem for what it is. I knew he shared my sense of urgency about challenging the status quo when it comes to our failing K-12 systems. And I knew Bishop Gordon had the political courage that has been so lacking from our political leaders. The problems with K-12 in Illinois are readily identifiable and well documented. One, in Illinois, our schools are not living up to their moral and fiduciary duties to the families and the students they serve. Two, that failure relegates generations of children to second-class citizen status in this city and this state because they were never given the opportunity to learn how to read, write, and think critically, skills that are required to be successful independent adults in our digital global economy. And with unemployment in this state, in this region, at a 25-year high, the competition for jobs is all the more fierce. Three, the existing power structure. Those in charge of our state government and our school districts, like CPS, pay lip service to the system's failures while being dogmatically opposed to system change. They propagate systems that discriminate against people based on their address and their household income. My personal experience was a little bit different. I went to Catholic grade school and high school in the western suburbs where I grew up. I didn't realize it growing up, but I now know that other than the gift of life itself, my schooling was the greatest gift that my parents gave me. The difference is that you cannot take away a person's education. From time to time, my parents would remind me that they could take my life away if I didn't shape up. My parents could have sent me to a local public school, but in their opinion, I would have better opportunities in life if I attended a private religious school. They evaluated what was best for their child, gathered the resources, and made their own personal decision. And they made sure that my sister and I gained the best education possible. It's a typical story for some. But my question is, why doesn't every family in Illinois have the same option that mine did? Why are some families discriminated against based on their address and household income and condemned to send their children to schools that everyone knows will fail them? Why are the politicians and the central planners who run these schools indifferent to their failure. The reality is this: if we get K through 12 education right in this state, a lot of our other problems become much easier to address because, as I said, we have put kids on a path to be successful, independent adults. But we are not getting K through 12 right. And because Springfield politicians in both parties, who are either financed by or afraid of the teachers' unions, we cannot even have a substantive, honest debate about what K through 12 education looks like in the 21st century. The entire conversation, Republicans and Democrats, is about system inputs. Yet despite infusing these systems with more and more money over the past 20 years, we have seen little, if any, improvement in student performance in Chicago or a number of other school districts around Illinois.